going on, everybody? Welcome in to Nebraska Cornhuskers Live. And, we are on our first live stream after playing a football game. So we do have some stuff to break down for you. Lydia probably saw my video on, what was it, Sunday I put that out? Saturday, something like that. Sunday I put that out. So Lydia saw my video there. Thanks for the feedback, but drop your comments in here. Let us know what your thoughts are on the game. We're going to get into some of the film today. So I got some defensive film that I'm going to break down today. Haven't fully gone through all the offensive film, but I did want to spotlight some of the stuff on the defensive film. As you see there, what went wrong defensively is the big question. Did our line get pushed back? Did it? What was the true reason why the run totals were the way they were? I'm going to get into the way Cincinnati ran the ball and how that, led to what our defense, what happened to our defense, and then what we can do in the future to prevent that, especially against your teams who run heavy zone run like Michigan. So, Brian, first off, how you doing today, man?
I'm functioning. I am still awaiting the movers to show up, which is another problem that happened today. They basically have no ETA. They have no idea when they're going to be here.
Still nothing.
Nothing. They've had my shit for a week, but they can't figure out where it's at.
Yeah, that's that. Oh, they don't even know where it's at.
That's in a warehouse somewhere in Kansas. The driver left it there.
Okay. Well, hopefully no tornadoes come through anytime the next week or so. How does that happen? How do these lose your stuff? I don't get it.
I don't know. And there's so much stuff in there, though. I'm so mad.
Yeah, I don't blame you one bit. That's why when I moved, I just moved my own stuff. But I had the luxury of living in a 700 square foot apartment and being able to load it all into a small U-Haul trailer. So
yeah,
there was that.
But I'm sitting in what will be the new office. It's going to be beautiful.
Let's go. We got a lot of good things coming up for y'all. We have a Nebraska Voice of College Football Twitter account that I'm going to be starting up very soon. I'll be posting, different things there, graphics and some film clips, et cetera, et cetera. So whenever I get that rocking and rolling, we'll be good to go. What went wrong is the defensive line couldn't get a pass rush, couldn't get off their blocks to make a TFL. I'm very excited to see you guys, man. Love the show. Thank you for being here, Ron. We appreciate each and every one of y'all, man. Seems to me like we're skinny and fast, but they're big and athletic a little bit. It is, again, we'll get into that. Wish we could call in tonight. So much to talk about. Fans need to calm the hell down. We will be fine. Give it time. Many teams look terrible this weekend. Yeah, I would let you call in. I don't know if we'll have time, but we'll see. First game of the year doesn't really say much. 2 games to work things out.
Yep.
Yeah, but I just wish our opponents over the next couple of weeks were opponents that we could see something happen against. But let me go ahead and open up with this, and before we get into the film in just a second. I don't know if you saw my guy JR over at the Big Ten Huddle, JR's rankings on X. People were not happy with his grade of Dylan Raiola. So the other day, no, you do get the film. ESPN has not blocked it yet. So don't worry. They usually do that after the fact. They usually take my money after the fact. But now hopefully that won't be the case moving forward this year. That is my goal here. But let me go ahead and let me find this real quick. And it was basically it had Raiola graded as a C-, and he was talking about, with his rankings, it's more so like he was talking about kind of the underneath passes and the 4-point, I think it was 3, whatever it was, average depth of target, ADOT. And a lot of people got on for it. And to an extent, I kind of think the truth is somewhere in the middle, right? Because here's the rankings for what they're worth. And let me see. Let me pull these up here. All right. So we got Mr. Is it Sharon? Oh, no. There we go. We got Mr. Jaden Mayava at the top, A+. Drew Aller, A. Julian Sayin, A. Dante Moore, A. Bryce Underwood, A. Ryan Brown, A. Calic Manis, A. Altmaier, A. A- for Washington. Williams Jr., A-, Mendoza, B+, Imalieva, B+, Drake Lindsay, B+, Raiola, C+, Aiden Childs, C-, D+, for O'Neal, Gronowski, D, and Preston Stone got a F. So, overall, first, what are your thoughts?
I don't agree with it. I think in the comments I said, I'm a big data guy, and I always say data kind of paints your picture, but the film will tell your story. And um, when you're looking at the data, you see Dylan Raiola had a 71.4 QBR, or a PFF score overall. He was 2 of 5 on 9 dropbacks when he was under pressure. He was 28 of 33 on throws 9 yards or less. He was 16 of 19 for 97 yards over the short middle part of the field. He had 4.3 is what PFF graded it. 4.3 of 46 dropbacks were turnover worthy plays. So those
Yeah.
are that's your painting, right? But we'll get to the film here probably later this week would be my guess once you have time to look at it, and you're going to see probably a guy that grades out, in my opinion, in the B, maybe a B plus. I thought he was efficient. He ran the offense the way it was designed for that game plan. When I see a guy like Nico Amaliva at, what do you say, he's a B plus?
Yeah.
He was 11 of 22 for 130 yards, an interception. They got beat by 30.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how you can give Dylan Raiola a worse grade.
Now, here's one thing I will say. Like I said, I think the truth's somewhere in the middle. Because to your point, right? There's a lot the numbers show, or that there's a lot that the numbers say that will show some differences on the film, right? And what I mean by that is, the numbers, while advanced analytics do paint a pretty good picture, right? And some of the analytics are correct. Like I get that his grade wasn't the best. Like his lowest grade was in the most efficient part of the field. But what that means, according to PFF, is he's not taking the most efficient throws, right? That means if they grade you low on a throw that was a completion, for 2 yards, there was a better throw on the table there, according to their numbers. It was a better, and you see it here. Let me find the comment here. Dana was not happy with the offense today in his media interview. That's probably part of it. And we talked about this in our post game about, we felt there was so much left out there in this offense, and we felt that Raiola left a lot out there. And everybody points to, he was efficient, and he was efficient. Yes, we know that. Like everything was great in terms of that. But again, there were better plays to be made. And that is a good thing. Before there were no plays to be made. Last year, early on in the season, there wasn't a play to be had out there. Now we're completing passes at a high percentage, and there's still higher percentage plays to be made, right? That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. So the fact that Dylan Raiola played as well as he did and still has room for improvement, again, we won, but we don't always have to look at this like everything's perfect. And Nico Imaliva, there was another statistic that I saw. Let me stop sharing this real quick. That might partially be able to answer this. Now, this is the point. What they call this? Expected points added and completion percentage over expectation, right? This might be a little confusing, but basically what this does is it's expected points added, play, and completion percentage over the expectations. So the goal is to be at the top right of this graph. And let's go. Let me zoom into. Let's see. Right here. So this is the list. And Carson Beck's actually at the top, surprisingly.
Yeah. He played very well, actually.
He did. But that was a different quarterback than we saw Georgia. Let's be real here. So you see right here with this, it's kind of almost like an efficiency mark. And the goal is you want to be at like the top right of this little graph right here. So you see Carson Beck up at the top there. You see Dylan Raiola right here. But you do see like Nico Imaliva right there. So like, I think this is an efficiency over the expectation of what transpired out on the field and what they were able to do with that, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can see Caden Salter in here and stuff like that too. So, some of these might benefit in these numbers from having a bad team around them and not having a better play to make, in a way. And so that's another aspect of this. You got to remember there's not a better play to be made, and they took the one throw that was there. Of course, they're going to get a good grade on that. That's going to skew some numbers, and that's where the numbers kind of sometimes can fall apart.
There's a couple throws I can think of just off the top of my head. Like the one where he almost threw the pick six, Dylan.
Yeah.
He was looking right, and he had, I believe, his ding key on like a 5-yard in route. And if he hit him earlier in the route, he could have had the completion. And instead, he bails on the route, looks left, and by that time, it was way too late. And even then, in that play, if he looks left to start, he has Harburg open, he has Emmett Johnson open immediately. And so those are one of those plays where you made the wrong read, basically. Or there was a play where he hit Emmett Johnson in the flat, and he had somebody breaking open as he's getting ready to throw it to Emmett in the flat. And if you just hold it for a split second longer, he maybe sees, I think it was Hunter coming on like a drag route, coming open late.
Think about it this way. If you remember, Purdue's quarterback last year against us had the highest PFF grade of any quarterback that week, and a loss against us. That's why. Again, team around him was terrible, right? He had a turnover, but there wasn't plays to be made. So the plays that he did make, he had to make good throws, et cetera, to make those plays. And that's why he finished, even though they lost, as a top quarterback. That's where these numbers get a little. So I did want to make sure that we kind of spotlighted that and talked about that a little bit, so people don't get too lost in the weeds about like, oh, this ranking has this number because of this, or his grade because of this, Now let's talk about Cincinnati and the defensive line. Okay, let's just go ahead and talk about what our defensive line did, because again, a lot of talk this week about the defensive line getting pushed back and stuff like that. Now, the thing I do want to clarify here, and I want to break this down for people that don't understand zone run schemes, right? So zone run, zone blocking, right? It's the zone. When you think of zone, right? Think of zone defense as covering a space, right? Think of zone blocking as blocking a space, right? Not blocking guys, blocking a space. That's why typically, now we're talking about the size of the linemen that are in a zone blocking scheme. Typically, your zone blocking guys, linemen, aren't necessarily just going to be the guys that are going to blow you back off the line. What they want is they want large bodies, right? They want large bodies because they want a wide buffer between you and the ball, whoever has that ball, right? And it's about stepping down and creating. You're trying to flank. Basically, what they're trying to do is they're trying to flank our offensive line. So let's say they're running to the right. Well, we got an offensive line stunt where our defensive line stunt where our defense is crashing to the left, right? Well, they'll let them crash down to the opposite side just to make sure that they get at that flank, and that way they can block them away from the ball. Does that kind of make sense? I want you to let me know if this makes sense. So you'll see the entire line, step in the same direction at one time, right? In coordination with the same timing to try to get to the side of the opponent, and then the running back is going to find an opening in there, right? He's looking for places to run where the defenders aren't, and the defenders are trying to plug those gaps, right? So sometimes it can be very, very difficult, especially if you get on your heels defensively. So because you get everybody moving laterally, so he's looking for spaces to run. So he doesn't have a specific area he's going to run to, he's looking for cutback lanes. If they're able to move him and flank them, they're blocking them off, to this direction. He's going to be able to find a cutback lane, right? If you can't find a cutback lane, find a little opening somewhere in there and just try to get a couple yards out of it, So the offensive line moves, that requires the defenders to move to not give up that space. Right? They're trying to block you out of that space. Don't give the space up, right? It hurts teams in the cutback lanes, right? In all this stuff going on, right? Those little lanes will emerge, and that's where the running back's looking for, right? And that's where teams typically get beat. And so those linemen have to move with a certain cohesion, and then the defense has to move kind of with that same cohesion to fill those areas, right? And not lose gaps in the chaos. So it's what you'll see when I pull up the film. They're moving quickly, lateral steps, just quick lateral steps, and just trying to drive down that line and trying to keep everything moving in one unit. It's less about punishing and bullying your opponent off the line. It's creating problems, right? You're creating the problems and exploiting them as they happen. essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's really effective when you have a quarterback who can run the ball, or teams that do RPOs, QB run reads. Because then the quarterback can sit there and, look at it and say, I've, this many blockers, this many defenders. I know if I need an extra blocker, I know, if I want a pass, or if there's more defenders than there's blockers, I want to have an extra option available. I want to be able to throw the ball if need be, if somebody's in my face, and so those guys are just moving the point of attack, moving it over. There's no specific point of attack. It's moving them down. And it's, typically you want more explosive guys who are going to drive you off the line if you want. But the thing about it is, if we look at the numbers here, now I want to the reason why I'm pointing out zone blocking is because now let's go back and let's look at the numbers a little bit here. Okay, so in zone, let's look at what they did in zone. Let me pull up. Let me see if I can find my, okay, so, all right. So in total, they had 30 carries for 202 yards, 6.7 yards per carry, right? 2 touchdowns. Of those, 16 attempts were zone runs. 16, okay? So 5 attempts were gap runs. So on 5 gap runs, they got 6 yards at 1.2 yards per carry. On 16 zone runs, they got 143 yards on 8.9 yards per carry. They got 5 scrambles for 59 yards, right? So they were effective with their zone. Brendan Sorsby, 14 carries, 96 yards, 6.9 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. Zone 3 carries for 37 yards, 12 yards per carry. Gap, 3 carries for 6 yards. Tyree Walker, 7 carries for 53 yards, 6 for 53 on zone, 8.8 yards per carry. Gap, 1 for 0 yards. Evan Pryor, he had 5 carries, all 5 zone, 5.8 yards per carry. Chance William, 1 gap for 5 yards. That was basically all their third string running back got them 5 yards. Cyrus Allen, wide receiver, 2 carries for 18 yards. It was a jet sweep. And that was a zone run. And that was the one down by the end zone. I'm going to spotlight that one on the film here in just a second. And then, so 16 of the 26, 62% of their runs were zone runs. And 5 carries got for the gap schemes, 5 carries for 6 yards. So it defended the gap well. The run fits weren't well. Now, so in essence, now, if you want to talk a little bit, I'm sorry, I'm just kind of going down my notes here because I kind of broke this all down. But what are your thoughts so far on that?
Well, when I'm looking at the PFF scores, it lines up with some of that data. The most alarming to me was Elijah Judy, just to point out specifically. His run defense score on PFF was 30.6, which was the worst among every single defensive lineman. In fact, he also had the worst overall PFF score at a 35. If someone and I were talking on X, I think 2 days ago or so, about this issue with the interior defensive line, and we look at RVP, you look at even I just drew a blank on his name, the transfer from Middle Tennessee State, Jalen George, both in lesser action performed substantially better against the run. RVP was a 50 in the run game. His overall score was just under 60. So I'm curious when we pull the film up, kind of what we see with Elijah Judy specifically, because sometimes I think with these PFF scores is you can have a bad score, but you can actually play fairly well. You're just playing your assignment, and then sometimes with PFF you get people who have no idea what the hell they're looking for, and they'll give you a bad score.
Yeah. All right, let me go ahead and dive into this a little bit, and I will take us first to, let me get to it in my notes here. All right. And I am going to break down the interception too, if I have time for it, but I should. So let me go ahead and get this to 13 minutes and 37 seconds, and I'll pull the film up for y'all here. Let's see. All right. All right. So here's what we're going to start with. So all right.
I guess too, while we're waiting for people who aren't familiar with PFF, the kind of like your baseline score is about a 60, 65. That's where your average defensive lineman would be. Nebraska only had 2 defensive linemen score over a 65, and that was Keona Davis and Williams Nawarni, who had a 70.6 overall, and then Keona had a 66, and then Cameron Lenhart was a 64. Every other lineman was well below that. So that's kind of a little bit of concern from a PFF standpoint. But then you also mentioned too filling the run gaps. That's pertaining to your linebackers, and run defense from the linebackers was pretty poor. In fact, every single one of them scored below a 60, except for Dayside McCullough.
Yeah. So there was there was some rough moments for sure. Let's go ahead and all right, let me pull this up here. And I got this this stuff I'm going to use. I think that it's or this thing I'm going to use that helps me be able to point stuff out and film a little bit better so y'all can see. But my mouse cursor big enough? Cool, perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
This is all 22 films, everybody.
Yep. All right, so let me hide that. Okay. So this first play, I'm just going to let this run here because what you're going to see here is just the reason I'm going to let this run. Okay, we got a guy coming in motion across. Okay, but what you're going to see is a QB run off to this side over here, right? And the reason I'm going to play this because right now you got our defensive ends right here on that edge contain, right? Okay, you got him driving inside. He's going to step around. Now this creates an opening. Now he's going to get upfield. Now here's where these QB runs become a problem, right? Because now you have this safety who's coming down to run fit. But look where he's at, right? So we're up top here. Let's let it roll, let it roll, let it roll. Okay, we got a safety here. Now he's got to get back to cover. Okay, now he rolls out left. Now he's going to have to come down and run fit. So, but he has to get stretched out wide because this route right here, this guy's getting blocked off a spot. So he comes around here and all right, so we show that one. Now let's get into a zone read here. So let me let this play first. We'll get through this one and then, all right.
And that's a lot of ground for that safety to cover too.
Yep. Now, one thing I want that's very important to know on this play that's going to be at 16 minutes here. So we got 16 minutes and 8 seconds. So this one right here. Now, one thing I want you to notice about this play right here is watch the line first off. We're going to watch the lineman with those blocks, right? So you see those lateral steps. They all start crashing down this direction. Now you see the flanks start to happen, right? He's getting flanked out this direction. He's getting washed down this side. You know, he's getting a push down here. Now let's see what the running back does because you have a couple guys coming in the second level here to run fit. Now, first things first, you see this guy make his way to the second level to pick up a block, right? So he comes in and he picks up this block. So that combo block happens there. Now, this play originally, if you're looking at it right now, it looks like we got it contained, right? But watch, there's a back of a red jersey here, a back of a red jersey here, and the back of a white jersey here. This bubble right here is safe. This is all safe for him to run through, right? And look at him. Squeeze his way through. Right? The back of a red jersey, and you have finally a player coming up here, comes down, and is able to make the play, right? But you see why those plays look like they're contained. Our defense is in the right spot, but there's a those little openings that are created, right? So coming to the next play here. Now, this is going to be the drive that I'm mainly running through. Next play here. Do a little zone read. Okay, now I'm gonna hold on 1 second here. Let me let it play a little bit. Let me just actually this is the same play. Let me let the next play run through first, and then I'll go over it with you. This one. Okay, so I'm gonna let this run. All right, so we got that jet sweep. Now, hang on, I think I might have missed one play. Let's see. Nope, I think I'm good. All right. So the reason the jet sweep works, now when we're putting these things down in perspective, and when I'm talking about a drive, I'm going to talk about the drive kind of in its entirety, right? Okay, so so essentially what happens on the previous play, right? 11 personnel, 1 running back, 1 tight end, flex wide. The defense had a 3-man down front, 4 total on the line, right? So somewhat of an over front. They had the 2 inside linebackers stacked behind the defensive line, and it was kind of a nickel assignment, right? The QB ends up riding the mesh with the running back and then flips out. This is going to be that little rollout. And I'm going to tell you why this sets up for the jet sweep, because everything in terms of blocking on the inside zone of the zone read is going to look very similar to what's going to happen on this reverse coming up, right? So you see there him kind of roll out here. Now let's let it run to this jet sweep here. Now what's going to happen on this sequencing? Let me get it right here. All right, I'm going to let the play run, then we'll go over it. Okay, now we all remember this play right before the touchdown. Okay, so I want you to look at something here. So pre-snap alignment here, we got 11 players. We got kind of a balanced look, slot wide receiver at the bottom, tight end inline right. The running backs offset the QB on the right. And I got like some notes here that I was going to pull up for you. Just a second. Where's my, hold on. I literally lost my StreamYard screen. Okay. So what's going to happen here is you see this setup blocking on the left side right here, right? They're going to run around this right side. You see him running with this mesh on this outside. You got this player coming back around the left-hand side. Now, what happens is all these guys got way too shallow, right? All these guys got really, really shallow in here and drawn into this mess right here. Coming around this left-hand side, you're going to see them kind of roll back around this side, right? But everybody's kind of caught up on these blocks over here. You're going to see them get inside, and then we're going to come down here for this last play. I'll let this play run out real quick. There we go. Good. Sorry, I don't know where my little window went. There we are. I'm back. Sorry, I couldn't find my StreamYard screen. Are we good now?
Yep.
Okay. So what I want to do here. Okay, cool. I'm sorry. I got my situation all scatterbrained here.
Man, they had him like dead to rights there too, and he just made a good play to get out.
Yep.
I can't see who it was that was in there on the defensive end, but
anything you're noticing off of this so far?
Any what?
Anything you're noticing so far?
On the film itself?
Yeah.
It's
I want to see
how dramatic that shift is with the line. That's what I noticed immediately off each play is it is 2-3 yards sliding one way or the other. Mm-hmm. And they're using Nebraska's momentum, the defensive line, to let themselves get out of position. They're letting them go where they want, and then they're just redirecting them if need be.
We talked about it before the show, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
We just let them do what they want.
Right, because what was your observation from the line that you said? Or do you remember what you said before the show?
Yeah, I noticed Nebraska was getting push up front, and it's because that was what Cincinnati wanted them to do, because it's creating a natural running lane, and that's the intent of this scheme, is to use your opponent's momentum, and then your running back is just waiting for that hole, and then he's going to cut. This is what made Amir Abdullah so damn good.
Exactly. So watch this. Watch what happens here. So we got inside. Well, what they're going to show is at the initial mesh point, it's going to be like inside zone action to the right with the blocking, right? So they're going to crash in there, right? You got one defender coming free right here. So this guy, right? It's okay if this guy comes free because you're trying to get him going this direction anyways. The biggest thing is you just want to make sure he doesn't pick up on where the ball's going. Nebraska comes in this play with a pretty light box, right? I think it was 5 total people kind of lined up in the box, corners, safeties aligned. Just showing some respect for, or showing a lack of respect for the vertical, because our guys were pretty much matched up in man, like they were good on man. Our coverage grade was great for a reason. Now, the all O line is all going to sell zone. The QB is going to extend the ball just like previous looks, but the defense was triggering downhill. Right. And that's what you're talking about, where letting them kind of set themselves up. The linebackers step left, the safeties kind of hesitate. And then instead of giving it to him, he's going to pitch it on this kind of reverse. And then you see the whole team's kind of flowing hard to the opposite side. They're flowing to the running back. The nickel DB and safety, they also kind of step initially to their left, right? They initially kind of take that first step down. And once you take that step down, you're already kind of taking yourself away from the play, because then your hips go the opposite direction of play. And now it's just green grass, because now the pursuit's going the opposite direction. So the wide receiver just, the defense is leveraged in, leveraged to the left. The cornerback at the bottom of the screen is isolated space, and he's too far off right now. With him right here, too far off the ball to be able to come down and get this guy in time. Is able to stop and short. But then, like we played on the next one, we go to the next play, because by the time they come across, you see that. And then we go to the next play here. And then this is pretty simple. Let me let it run from this angle. I don't know if I'll let you see it from this angle, but let me let it run from this angle. And then we'll go down to the touchdown, which is just it's a little zone read. You just literally all the quarterback has to do is he's just keeping his eyes, where he needs to, watching that D line. You're going to see this defensive end here, right? You're going to see this defensive end stay, right? But he's still going to be, it's like almost like a QB power. He's going to follow these blocks in line, and he's going to, he's got guys to block this guy. So he's just going to step around him. Boom. They created enough of a space for him to kind of get around him, because they collapsed aggressively inside because of the reverse they saw in the previous play. So now you got guys that are trying to come down, kill the reverse, or crash down because they just got beat with a reverse. And now their aggression's getting the best of them because they're getting drawn too far in. And now they're too far in. They can't get out horizontally quick enough. And now you got to try to take an angle enough. These guys got to try to take an angle enough to be able to get him. But he's just got a better angle than them.
Watch those linebackers right at the snap. They get washed away so quickly. All three of them just go right towards the middle on the QB. On that one too, but on the QB keeper.
Yep.
I mean, right at the snap, they're all crashing, and they get completely washed.
Yep. Right there.
Yeah.
We have 7.
That nickel, I think, is the one that's trailing, coming across the formation there.
But he's got a blocker right out in front.
Yeah.
In numbers.
But both linebackers just got sucked in there.
Like I talked about earlier, it's numbers, right? It's really, really numbers. It's trying to find where the numbers are good for you. And let me try to lock into some of these comments here. And one thing too, let me go back one more time to this. I want to pull back to this zone read a little bit here. And then I'm going to go to the last drive here in just a second as well. Was it this one? No, that was that play. And then let me let it run a little bit.
You were talking about how great the coverage was.
The hell happened?
Every single defensive back that played and registered a PFF grade on coverage scored a 69 or higher. Every single one of them.
69 or higher?
Yep, every single one.
Damn good.
Rex Guthrie is the exception. He had a 50, but he played 8 snaps, so your volume is not as high to get a true grade. But the pass coverage, I mean, it's good to see, when your eyes and the numbers are matching, I guess.
Yeah.
Is the way to put it.
Yes, absolutely. I think this one right here. So I think, is this one it? Yeah. So I want to see. So yeah, that was just a little outside zone. Okay, cool. So I knew there was a play on there that I missed. That was what I was trying to get to earlier, but that's why I want a new video player than this, because you can only fast forward 30 seconds and go back 10 seconds. So it's hard to hit specific spots, and I lose the place I'm at on these films. So let me go ahead and let's go ahead and move over to the Shavers fumble, 1208.
Vincent Shavers was out of his freaking mind on Thursday.
Played crazy. Dude, he was so good.
He actually, because people were making a big deal, not a big deal, but they're like, oh, it's the or between him and Marquise Watson-Trent. And then as the game progressed, he ended up playing more snaps than Marquise Watson-Trent.
Yeah. Yeah. And Were you? What was your overall like? Who were you most impressed with on defense? I'm curious. Just looking at the numbers.
Donovan Jones, without even looking at his numbers, to be honest. I thought he played incredibly physical. I thought he was good in coverage. I'll pull it up real quick. I got my notebook here. He played 30 snaps. He had almost a 60 score in run grade. His tackling score wasn't great because he had that missed tackle on the opening drive that hurt him. Coverage grade was a 70. Overall was a 68. I mean, for a redshirt freshman playing his second game, I thought he was phenomenal. He's a bright spot.
Yeah, it's really hard to be upset about that.
I thought Andrew Marshall, in his first big time college game outside of the Oregon game last year when he was at Idaho, I mean, he posted the best coverage score. He posted the best overall score. He posted the best tackling score, or second best tackling score. Had the highest run defense score. Phenomenal.
Yeah. And it's Shavers had a 91, like almost a 91 PFF grade.
He was the highest graded overall player on the team.
Let's just kind of think about what that might lead to by his senior year.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, at this point, I mean, his worst score was his run defense grade, and that was a 56.
It's crazy.
Everything else was at a 70 or higher.
Excellent. Yep, exactly.
And he's a sophomore too. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. He's a sophomore, bro. Like, it's crazy what he ultimately will end up becoming. But yeah, kind of wild.
I'll add to we talked, the difference between him and Marquise Watson Trent. Marquise is more of your run defending middle linebacker, and Vincent would be better in pass coverage. Mm-hmm. If you would have told me he allowed one catch for 4 yards, had a game-changing forced fumble, had a coverage grade of 92, which is probably the highest I've ever seen from a linebacker. I mean, I would have told you you're lying to me, because a 92 coverage score is insane.
Yeah, I can't remember, like, when we're talking like coverage grades, for instance, like your Kool-Aid McKinstry's, who were like top in college football, like in like 2023, were in like the 83s, 84s, something like that. So like that should put it kind of into perspective, what you're looking at there. So, but yeah, overall, what any other numbers that stood out to you out of curiosity?
Numbers that stood out. Honestly, I thought Javen Wright played better than the numbers indicated. Only had a 54 overall PFF. His coverage grade was a 58. His tackling was pretty. I mean, he according to PFF did not play a very good game. Yeah. I thought he played pretty decent. I knew he struggled in coverage a little bit, but I was not expecting a 54 or a 58 is what it ended up being. And then we already talked about it too with Elijah Judy, 30 on 32 snaps, had a 30.6 run grade. He didn't register a tackle. He didn't register any other stats of importance with a 35 overall. It was our big concern going into the year, with this being the most snaps he's going to play in his entire career. And I thought it'd be better.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and break down the fumble here. So the first thing that we're going to see, just over a minute before half. So just over a minute before half. They just got the quote unquote first down, right? So what we're going to look at here personnel wise is you got the defense is shifting. You got a 2 high shell nickel personnel out there. You got, let's see, let me let it run for a little bit. Okay, corners with cushion, safeties kind of creep in there. They're kind of a little bit lower to trigger fast if the ball comes out quickly. So let's go ahead and see what happens here. So our linebacker alignment, not blitzing heavy, just kind of reading reaction. QB, Swordsby's going to take it quickly, kind of look left and fire to that little open space right there. Now, the biggest thing, though, is what we've seen in Shavers throughout his career here is just how quickly he triggers on a play and can read a play and react. So as soon as he releases that ball, you see his foot's already planting and he's already crashing downhill. The receiver catches it near the 20 and he's going to fumble it around the 20 and the 19. So he's going to keep outside, force contain in. He's going to look at that tackle. I mean, look at that hit. puts it right on the ball, drives it out. Just no hesitation, just comes down. And that's what we're talking about last year when Matt Rule talked about Vincent Shavers plays fast, right? That's what playing fast will get you. By the time that wide receiver knew what, knew he had the ball, I was going to say knew what hit him. He didn't know what hit him. But as soon as he caught that ball and was ready to turn, like he was already getting lit up by it, right? And that's just because if he doesn't trigger and plant that quickly, as soon as he sees that ball, if he doesn't react that quickly, he's turning upfield. He's probably got a better handle on that ball, and they might be driving down the field a little bit more. We don't turn around and get that touchdown. And of course, that touchdown ended up winning the game. He attacked the ball, attacked the leverage, stood him up, jarred it loose, forced the fumble. And that was big. That was one of those ball don't lie moments that really got everybody kind of into it, especially after we were just pissed off. And it's a fast happening play because they just got right back into the hurry up. You see our defensive quickly communicating out there, but took, against tempo, lined up quick. They communicated minimal calls, then they get there, get the play, and, quick, short memory again. Now, let's go ahead and move on forward. Anything on that before?
Can you back it up to right after the play starts? Because what makes this play happen, in my opinion, is if you watch your corner on the top screen, farther side of the field, they're in a zone, and he does a great job passing off the coverage to the safety. It looks for a second that Sorsby can hit that receiver in that little window at about the 30, but he does a good job. The safety does a good job rolling over in time to basically make that drag route at the 20 the only option.
Yep. Yeah,
and that's what I noticed.
One thing too, though, I'm glad you pointed out this happening up here because I want you to watch this one more time, but I want you to remember this route concept, this Ohio kind of routes concept. They don't throw it to one of these routes, but just watch that route concept, watch how this play develops, and then I'll bring you back to it. Okay, so you saw that.
The switch was phenomenal. I can't see what corner that is. I think that's Sayer, but the fact that he switched that at that time was so perfectly timed.
The switch off was definitely good there. Absolutely. And that's going to be, that play is going to come back here in a little bit. All right, so started the last drives at 24:38. So let me get this sorted up here. All right, so I'm just going to run through. We're going to run through each kind of play of this last drive here quickly. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on each one of them, but I am going to, let's see. All right. So this first play is just going to be a QB run. One thing I want you to notice, though, on this QB run, Sorensby's eyes are going to one place. Right.
He's never intended to throw it.
Right here, you see his eyes here and here, right? He's going to watch this. Now he's going to see what happens here. But as soon as this guy leaves and heads this way, he's up the middle. Boom. Cleared out that middle. I'm gone. Running away from guys. All right. Falls down right in the middle of them. Okay. Now let's get to the second play. Simple. This is going to be that run one more time. Sorry. Shows him twice from two different angles, but you're going to see again, getting blocked down, that zone block. Next play here, quick, simple, just a little hitch. 2nd and 2, right? Little hitch. I'm going to watch right here on this part of the screen. Okay. All right. So right there. Just a quick, he just sat down in that spot before those guys could get over there, right? And that goes for a pretty good gain right there. So that's a chunk play on what was a simple pass of them just throwing to an open space, right? Again, with these zone concepts, like those quick passes. Then let's get it run to the third play here. And this is going to be Sorsby makes a late throw to a guy. So he's going to, again, you get that little inside fake handoff here. Now he has a guy immediately right here, right? But he hesitates. He didn't throw it in time. Now you see him looking. He's going to attempt to try to step up. But you see right here, this defender's not in a block, right? So he can kind of step off to the right there, be able to fill that gap. But he tries to throw to this guy. He gets his hands up. All right. Incomplete pass. So good play there by the defense. Coming down. Fourth play here. Let's let this run. That was the last one. Let me let this next one run. This is a different one. Yeah. All right. So that right there, that's a good route. I'm sorry. That's just a really good route. Watch up top here. Watch this. Snaps it off quick. That's a good route. Okay. Was able to fight the hands off. Yep. So really good route there. Now coming up on the fourth. Now this fifth play right here, this is going to be what I was telling you about. This is the route concept that I was telling you about. This fifth play, and it's going to be fourth down because on 3rd and 2 right here, I think this is where they get the penalty. If I'm not mistaken, I think the left side jumps here. Yep. Left side jumps. So now I move to this play. All right, so this is 3rd and 7. So 3rd and 7, so there's one play, and then there's going to be the fourth down. So I think this is an incompletion here. Yeah. Now we have fourth down. Okay, here's where that Ohio route concept comes back up. Okay, because what you're going to see is we come out of this in cover 2, right? So you see him backing up. This is like a rolling cover 2, right? Look like a single high shell over the top. Then you have this rolling back into the 2 high safety look. And you got some man coverage out here or match coverage, whatever. Now you got these 2 guys are going to have to figure out how to pass this off, right? Because again, you're going to have this inside guy cutting underneath, this guy going deep. This time you see that hitch route isn't here, right? Takes some of the defenders away from the box, right? So now he's going to break this off. Once he gets his hips going that way, as soon as he gets his hips and blows by him that way, he's going to break this off to the inside. That top route's going to go high. Now the safety doesn't get down in time. And that's where they picked up the first down, the fourth. And again, that's a hard thing to defend, especially against cover 2. It's a really, really hard play to defend. That's a perfect call for cover 2, actually. So now
he got in and out of that break quick too.
He did. Got in and out of the break quick. Just a really good timing on that play by him too, and a good throw overall by Swordsby. 6th play here coming up. We got a QB draw. So it's another instance where he's just going to drop back and no thought about passing. But we have a spy. We do have a spy.
Looks like it's Buford there.
Okay. Spy steps down. It's probably either going to be the spy or go with the running back. But since that running back turns into a blocker, he kind of double duty there. Now that running back, he knows he's a blocker. So Swordsby's just watching him. Swordsby's going to follow that running back, watch that guy at the second level. So watch his eyes. He's going to watch him coming down. Watch. All right. So he's looking there. Now bounce it outside, get some space. So again, it's just little things like those receivers just running everybody out. And then he's able to find an opening, find a crease there. Like these things that our defense struggled with are things that are definitely going to be able to be fixed. This play right here, this was just a bad read. The receiver on the outside went straight. He wanted him to kind of break it off, and he didn't. So kind of a miscommunication there. Might have been kind of a throwaway. 3rd and 2 here. Now this is just going to be a quarterback run. Again, 3rd and 2, of course, they're going to get him to just follow his blocker. All right, here's the interception. So let's go ahead and let this one run.
We've been saying all off season how much better Hartzog is as a safety and in zone coverage. Let's see it.
Because what was the biggest thing I talked about of last season with us getting beat with GIF being, our eyes getting lost. Guys, I talked about it all off season. I showed a lot of film clips of it from the Indiana game, the Ohio State game. And now this is where the coaching comes in. And now, it's a shotgun spread look. Of course, first down, they're probably going to take a shot, right? You got your defensive backs deep. The defensive backs are going to be lined at the sticks. All right, so you see right here, We're just gonna. These guys are prepping. They're prepping for a deep pass here. So he's gonna shade off this. He's gonna run out here, and this is gonna get you out to a kind of a cover 2. This looks like a Tampa 2 kind of look because you got this deep middle here. So you see right here, this receiver's already got kind of his route past here. We got the help over the top. You see him stepping down here. Let me let that run back just a little bit. I'm going to let it run back from the top.
This is one of those things, too. We talk about the more experienced secondaries being able to roll your coverages late, have a different coverage post-snap, moving safeties from one hash to the other post-snap. You see a lot of that on this play.
Yep. He keeps inside leverage. He's going to keep inside leverage. He's going to keep his eye on the ball all the way through. And this is just, this is just ball skills right here. Incredible ball skills. Tracking, and it's going to be who wants it more, right? He's coming on the way back. He actually times his jump better. He's able to go up, and then the defender, he keeps that inside leverage, and that defender is going to go up and have to try to fight him for the ball. So he beat the defender to the spot to get the ball, and now the defender's trying to play defensive back and be able to go fight the ball away from him. He gets the interception, and Nebraska wins the game. We'll let that roll one more time. So you get them trying to take advantage of that opportunity they had there on that first down with some time at field goal range, and Nebraska makes them pay. And again, that is something we would not have done in previous years. So overall, like the defense, I think got some bad heat after that game, and I don't necessarily think I don't think it's our defense is going to be in trouble. But the one thing that I did say about Michigan is I'm afraid of them because of the zone run schemes that they do run, right? And that was why I was saying I just wanted it to look better in this game, so that way I had more confidence coming up to Akron. We're
just
not going
to get tested the next 2 weeks.
We're not going to get tested at all. And so a lot of the concepts that they run, we're going to see against Michigan. But we do have the good thing is that Cincinnati is a zone run team with a mobile quarterback. And so if there's any film to have to prep you for Michigan, this is a good thing to have, right? It's a good learning experience. So we've already kind of seen and got a taste of this. That way we know what to correct. And again, hopefully some of the stuff I pointed out shows that a lot. And I had way more in detail notes that I'm probably going to put into a recording just for the sake of time here that dive into a little bit more detail. I'm trying to figure out if I want to do those on the channel or maybe have it a separate, but I can go way more into detail if people would like, as to stuff like the alignment, all the way down to the alignment, who's shaded inside, who's shaded outside, over what guy, why is the line lined up this way. If y'all do want more of that, I am going to probably put some more in detail breakdowns here. So in the offensive breakdown, hopefully I'll have that for y'all tomorrow, and I want to add in some of more details of this defensive breakdown I just did today into that one. And so that way y'all can kind of see what some of the offensive concepts that we're running this year, what is the difference between this year's offense versus last year's offense. But one thing I will say is the route running is incredible compared to previous years, but last year, especially the route running is in night and day. I remember last year in the spring game, we had a hard time getting separation at times.
You have some guys on the outside that can actually, you can just throw it to them, even if they don't have a bunch of separation, they can go get it. You saw that with Dane Key. He broke free on a couple third downs in the game. You saw that on the two jump balls really to Isaiah Hunter, one for a touchdown and one for a 24-yard gain.
Yes.
Where his defender just fell down, but he just went up and got it both times.
Yeah. So let's see here. Sub ended before payday. All right, no worries, man. Dylan play well. Tight end more. Utah, Arizona State win the Big 12. Our defense got 2 turnovers. Work on our game plan more. 1-0. Yes. It was 2. Dana knows we have the players. We just need to put them in the right spots. 100%. He's right, though. It wasn't good enough. We got to finish drives. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Downfield blocking was mentioned.
I got blocking grades, I think.
Yeah,
for
let
the
me see those. I'm curious to see the blocking grades, especially for the wideouts.
So I did the top 3 wideouts, and the reason I did this is because between Mills, Bonner, and Clark, they played a combined 33 snaps. Dane Key and Hunter and Barney played majority or every snap. So Dane Key graded out as a 58 in run blocking, Hunter graded out as a 62 in run blocking, and Ja'Cory Barney graded out as a 58. So not bad. Probably, I mean, like we said earlier, 60 to 65 is kind of your median for PFF. Those guys are, really close to that median grade.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see what it takes long to put a spy. It's hard sometimes, man, because you got to balance out the fact that you're giving up a player out there. You're giving up an extra player to just focus on the quarterback.
And in that defense, it's likely a defensive back.
And whenever they started, when he started moving the ball with his legs, they did put a spy out there, but it was just harder. It's harder than it seems to just put a spy out there when watching it back. They did a lot of things well. They did a lot of things well. Bad angles for linebackers and safeties. Yes, it was a lot of, not more than just bad angles, but I mean, we're talking about, when they're coming through, again, that the play sequencing, after going zone run after zone run, the QB keeps, the defense is ready to overplay inside zone action, So what do? They get the linebacker safeties chasing the running back, flowing, and it's basically eye discipline. They were testing our eye discipline, and we were, what I like to say, on our heels. When we lose our eyes, because we're on our heels and we're trying to play to the play that we think they're going to run, as opposed to reacting to the play that they're running. If that makes sense. Like on that reverse, by the time the wide receiver got the ball, the defense was out of position. He got a free edge. And that's the answer to an aggressive defense. Now, how do you keep a defense playing poorly against a zone? Well, you keep them on their heels, because then they're going to fall right into your traps. Well, you make them then aggressive by running a reverse, and then you hit them back with a play again that they need to be patient on, which is a zone read, and you beat them on that. It was just they sequenced it well. They set us up well, and I think certain areas we weren't ready for it, but we had the talent to win the day, especially in the pass game. And overall, I'm not too concerned of our defense after watching the film. I think that was the biggest thing. It's the setup and the scheme that got us. And the only scary part is just the fact that, we got another zone team coming up fairly soon. So
that's going to be a lot better.
Yeah. Let's see. Our fans want us this game by being so noisy. 100% it did. Shavers is definitely that beast is an understatement. Glad they got it right. Finally, couldn't believe they called it incomplete initially. For the life of me, I still can't believe it took so long for Butler to put a spot on the QB. Oh, I was right past that. Seemed like one player was doing it most of the game. Thank God we won. Yeah, 100%. Our wide receivers are way better this year. Yeah, not even close. Akron and Houston Christian should not score a single point. D-line needs to push their O-line back 3 yards. That'll probably
happen. Akron lost 10-0 against
10-0 against Wyoming. Yeah,
I think Nebraska is going to put in a lot of backups though, so I think they're going to eventually score, just because you're going to be seeing the Dylan Parrots of the world playing quite a bit.
Yeah. It definitely will be a fun game to watch, because it's going to be an easy game to watch.
This should be a game where your backups play a lot of the second half, if not the whole second half. And this is the game where you're watching the David Hoofkins that are developing behind the scenes still. This is going to be a good game for us to get an eyeball on live game reps for guys that are going to be playing a lot in a year or two.
Correct. 100% agree. And so, guys, we got a lot coming up for y'all. Again, I got a lot of film breakdowns coming up. I'm going to be probably I want to do a mixed bag of even showcasing some opponent film in preparation for the week. So I might be either putting some of that on Patreon or for members only, because I'm not going to be able to upload that many videos onto the channel. So if people are interested in that, we will be kind of keeping you updated on what's coming up, so I can keep those film reviews pumping out for y'all. Another thing, the X account, again, if you want to follow us on X, _H Town Husker, you can get him at KC Husker 24 on X.
I don't know what to change it to. I don't live in Kansas City anymore, and the city I live in starts with an H, and you're already H-Town. So I don't.
Damn.
The city I live in is famous for hippos, so Hippo Husker.
Hippo Husker, baby. I mean, we rock
Husker Hippo.
The Husker Hippo. I mean, that'll definitely
Does that insinuate that I'm fat and overweight, though?
It'll definitely bring people to your profile to understand why the hell this guy's named the Husker Hippo.
Yeah.
So, we have a lot to fix. Shouldn't get big heads over 2 wins with wins over 2 cupcakes. Agreed. No, yep. I have to put 40s up for them before halftime. I think that's the best way. The best way to explain my disappointment when talking about when I came into the out of the game disappointed is like, remember when Nebraska back in the day was beating teams? Like, if we didn't beat a cupcake, it didn't score 70 on a cupcake, it was like, if we didn't score 50, right? It was a bad offensive performance.
Yeah.
Right.
But also, like, we have high expectations this year, which means we have high standards, and that's a good thing. So, like, being overly critical about maybe the passing game didn't go deep enough, like, that's a good thing to be critical about because we have high standards now. We expect to be pretty damn good team.
Yeah. In this channel, you get honesty. So if you want honesty, real analysis, not just sugarcoating all that, this is the spot for you. And contrary to popular belief, we got a tough test coming up in Michigan because Bryce Underwood's a good quarterback. Some people don't agree, but Bryce Underwood's a good quarterback. So we got to be ready for that one. But it all starts, these next 2 weeks are still important. You know, the execution that is going to go down each and every single day in practice is all going to lead up to wins throughout this season. You know, we have to execute just as if we were playing Michigan Saturday in practice, you know?
Yeah.
But I think this is the team, the coaching staff that's going to have these guys. I think they're fired up to go out there and get ready to play on Akron. You know, I think this is a team that's going to go out there and they're going to handle business. They're going to handle business against Houston Christian. And I think they're going to do it in a way we haven't seen them handle business against teams we should beat in the previous years. I think we're going to feel better about these 2 games than we did coming off of UTEP, Northern Iowa, because, again, we didn't feel great coming out of those games either, people remember correctly. So we'll get the job done. We'll be all right. But other than that, I got some videos coming for you this week. Again, I'll be doing some film, probably, hopefully have the offensive film video ready for y'all and recorded and posted up tomorrow. And then Friday we have our call-in show per usual. You know, might bring some more fun stuff for y'all there. So, Brian, is there anything else you want to put out before we go ahead? And once Brian gets his stuff, he'll be able to put out some videos too. You know, but Brian's living against a white wall right now and has no belongings to his name.
Yeah, so if any of you guys know, I'm not going to name the name of the company, but if you know anybody at Mayflower Moving, you can tell them to hurry the fuck up and give him a shit. Okay.
He's not going to say the name of it, but it's Mayflower.
Yeah, Mayflower Moving.
Mayflower Moving. Figure it out. That's all. Get Brian's shit. That's all I need. I need this man to get a damn computer so he can get some content out. But everybody, thank you for your comments, your likes. Thank you for tuning into our live streams, man. Y'all make us have a lot of fun with this stuff. Sorry, I was a little scatterbrained on my film review today. My notes kind of were all over the place. I kind of got all scattered. I should have had all this stuff set up a little bit better. But you know, it's a live stream. Fuck it, we'll do it live. You know,
Fuck it, we do it live.
Fuck it, we do it live. All right, thanks everybody again for tuning in. If you haven't yet dropped a like on the stream, it's a little too late to ask for that. I always ask at the end of the show, but I appreciate everybody tuning in. We will see y'all. See you in the video tomorrow, and then we will see y'all on the call-in show on Friday. So, see you.